Is it the last session of the day?
Yeah.
I think it is. So we are very excited to have you here as some of the last, how to say that? No, never mind. Last people still standing or sitting, as the case may be. So we're here. We're going to do a Architect Securely with the Well-Architected Framework workshop with you. I'm going to try and make it interactive. We'll give you some challenges. I'm going to introduce them to you. But before I do that, please remember to make any purchasing decisions based on generally available products and services. And I already did the thank yous. Thank you for joining. Come to the front, have a seat. Crystal, come to the front, have a seat. Thank you for being a part of TDX, and thank you for sharing your knowledge with the community as well. My name is Miriam McCabe. I am a certified technical architect, and I lead the architect evangelism team at Salesforce. I am joined by two folks on my team, principal evangelist Lilith, who is also a certified technical architect, and Scott Ratliff over there, who's going to be mic running for us and doing some other special treats, also principal architect evangelist. And we're very excited to be doing this workshop with you. Going to start with a little bit of an intro, and then we're going to do this concept that we have been calling, Lilith has baptized, a solution quickfire, 2 quick challenges that will get you hopefully sweating and definitely staying awake. We'll do a readout. We'll go through potential solution review in the sense of how would we have solved it, and then we'll leave you with some next steps and resources.
But before we do that, maybe just a quick show of hand. Who knows the well-architected framework? All right, so yeah, we do have some people, but some are maybe not as familiar. Don't worry, I will quickly walk you through it. So basically what the well-architected framework, it's kind of in the name, right? We want to make sure that we guide you into well-architecting something, right? A solution. How can we make sure that this solution is following the architectural best practices? So this framework is meant to give you guidance. It has some very specific pillars like trusted, easy, adaptable, and then sub-pillars like secure. And if you follow all of these, then you should have holistically a well-architected solution. But because the full framework is very extensive, we are going to focus today on the secure part. And if you want to read more, if you're not really familiar with it, the QR code is there. You will be using some of the things that's on those resources today as you solve those challenges. So I'll walk you through secure. Secure is about controlling access and protecting data. And yeah, please move up front. We're going to get to know each other well. We're going to work together. So there's 3 subdomains, or whatever we want to call it, under secure. We have the organizational security, which protects your system against unauthorized access. This talks about authentication, authorization. Of course, we have the session security, which is preventing the unauthorized parties from interfering with or hijacking sessions. This can be through session management, device access, and of course, threat detection and response. And then finally, last but not least, is the data security and how we protect data from unauthorized access, corruption, or unintended deletion. So that's about sharing and visibility and, for example, the use of encryption. So that's secure. Now, we will also be talking a bit about Salesforce Archive in one of the challenges. And for those who aren't familiar, so maybe, again, a raise of hand, who is familiar with Salesforce Archive? Yeah, not that many people, but I appreciate that we have some knowledge. So everyone who isn't close to what is your name? Bao is, going to have to really scan that QR code to make sure that they can read up on what is Salesforce Archive. But I will also give you a brief introduction. So Salesforce Archive, I've tried to summarize it a bit on this slide, but it's a native tier storage solution where it's really designed to, one, manage those large data volumes, but also make sure that you are compliant, that you're following data retention, all those data retention and regulations that we know are out there. How can you make sure that you're actually living up to that? And there are some specific features, let's say, that we use for that. We have the archive engine, and you can see a beautiful diagram that explains it. So basically, based on specific policies that you set, data will be moved from the Salesforce normal database, let's say, to this external storage. But then through those widgets, as you see those embedded widgets, you can actually see that data back again in Salesforce. So that means that the data, it really appears as if it's still in Salesforce, but it is in a cold storage, or colder storage than you would think. And one of the things that's really nice about that is you can still search, and you can also still rely on the existing sharing mechanisms that you had before. So in a nutshell, that is Salesforce Archive. And with that, we're just going to jump in and get ready to get hands-on. So as Miriam mentioned, we will have 2 challenges. And very counterintuitively, I would really love to see a lot of phones for this session, because you'll be submitting your responses via QR code. So we'll have a form, we'll have a QR code that you can use, and we expect your answer on that. So make sure you have your phone, make sure that you work together to solve those challenges, and to keep an eye on the clock. We will be watching the clock for you, but still time management is a key skill of any architect. You can move up front, Michael. You don't need to be that far back.
Do we want to give any guidance on team size, like 2, 3?
Yeah, I think let's make sure that you have like teams of 3-ish. That way you can collaborate. You also have a lot of people that can make sure that somebody's taking notes, because we do expect at the end that there will be readouts. I will have a few, guidelines on how you can shape the roles within your team. But clock, what do we expect you to do? You will see in the form, we expect you to answer the following questions, like, which patterns or anti-patterns do you spot, and why are those patterns or anti-patterns? And what advice would you give? And of course, you can give the advice that maybe you should fire your architect, but we expect something more substantial, right? Okay, good. So take out your phone, get ready to scan the QR codes to submit your team's answer. And then before we go into showing you the scenarios, just as Miriam already mentioned, really think about, let's try and make groups of 3 and think about who is going to take which role. There's going to be 2 challenges, so I would love for the roles to change between those challenges. The person who takes notes in the first one might be, doing the, See, that's why you didn't have it there, right? Yeah. Doing the readouts for the next, the other one. Maybe one person is keeping your focus or using the resources. So try and make sure that you divide your, or use the strengths of that group. Also really important, we are not looking for the right answer. We all know, as architects, what is our favorite catchphrase? It depends. Yeah. Say it proud, say it loud. It depends, yeah. So it doesn't matter, right? As long as you have a good answer that you feel like you can justify, we will be very, very happy. And we've actually seen in the past that we get new insights because maybe we haven't interpreted the challenge in the same way. So please don't feel pressured. Answer what you think is right. Try and justify. We are super happy with your collaboration here. You can use the resources that I've shown. You'll see in the form there's links as well. It might be easier to click. And then, yeah, we will probably not have every team be able to read out for every challenge. But again, that's fine. That's what happy hours and post-TDX concerts are for, to just chat about architecture, right? We all are agreeing on that? Cool. All right, then I think we can jump in.
Yeah, so make sure that you, I don't know, make eye contact already with a few folks that are sitting close by, so that you can kind of like roughly, ideally, so best practice, do this with somebody that you don't already know. All right. So
everyone feels ready with their team? We have a team? We have teams? Okay.
Awesome. All right. So this is the first challenge. And so I see a lot of phones going up. This is great. So let me start with something very important, which is the actual challenge. Because if you don't get the challenge, if you don't know what you're solving for, then how can you come up with the right solution? So if I can just briefly have the room's full focus and attention.
You're getting started well, but maybe we should listen to the challenge first before we get to the solution.
Let me try and make it as painless as possible. All right, so we have a company called Today's Dashing Experience. You see what she did there? It's a retail company which manages 3 distinct integration streams, and they're using a connected app. Okay, So the integration streams are, one, a mobile app that they want to use for loyalty tracking. It's on a public network. Two, a Python script that's doing nightly inventory updates hosted on a private on-premises server. And three, it's a third-party analytics tool that connects via the public internet. So 3 integration streams all connecting through that single connected app. Now, to simplify the setup, when was that ever a good introduction? To simplify the setup, the architect uses a single integration user for all 3 of these integrations, and they have configured the OAuth 2.0 username password flow so that they don't have to deal with refresh tokens. The connected app is configured with full access scopes to prevent 403 errors. Now, challenge for you, pick a name for the team, figure out what kind of pattern or anti-pattern is happening, why is it good, why is it bad, why is it a pattern or an anti-pattern, and what would be the advice that you want to give. And you have 7 minutes.
Starting now.
Go.
That was the first challenge.
Awesome. Are we going to move to the next challenge?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's do it, folks. So we'll do both challenges first, and then we'll do the readbacks. So this is challenge number 2. Same company, Total Delivery Express, but this time they use Salesforce Archive, and they want to move case records to a vault once these cases have been closed for 12 months, to be in line with their data retention policies, and to also accommodate their LDV, their large data volumes on historical cases. Now, to simplify the implementation, the architect decided to keep the default private case sharing model as the primary security control, in the assumption that because the records are archived, they are no longer at risk for unauthorized internal access. Support agents retain a read permission on case, while the compliance persona is given a permission set to view the vault. That's it. That's what you get. And then it's the same story, new scan.
But keep in mind that, again, it depends. You know, you may have interpreted things differently than we did. Either way, there's a lot of things that you caught that we also caught. So it's an anti-pattern. The first challenge, I think we all agreed on that one. Maybe the architect should read the architect framework a bit more, because we saw that, you know, they violated the authorization within the organizational security, having that single integration user, not a good idea. We caught that, so I'm gonna skimp over that a bit quicker because I heard that before. Same thing with the single connected app, not great. Also, I think we had our team here mention that maybe we should not be relying on those connected apps anymore as they are deprecated, or, you know, there's newer technology like the external client app that we should be using. So I heard a few things about that. I definitely also heard about the scope being, you know, too broad, and getting an error message is not a good reason, justification on why you should put it so broad. So when it comes to the advice, and also, of course, the flow, I think a lot of these things were covered, so I'm not going to go too deep into this one, because I think the next one is really challenging or a bit more tricky. So we agree, decompose a single app into separate client apps, external client apps, unique integration users with very clear permissions on what they actually need. Again, that permission or principle of least privilege. Scopes really in the function of what they need, and not just because we don't want error messages. Yeah. And then using the right flow, of course. Going into the second challenge, and this was a tricky one because it was both. So yeah, sorry. So in the sense of what is the pattern here? The pattern is that they seem to be working with personas. So that's a good thing, because they are realizing that, you know, they really are thinking about what do these persona need to actually do the work that they need to do. So that's definitely a good thing. We saw it in the permission set assignment to the compliance user. Great. What wasn't that great is actually, and I know that this is a new technology perhaps for most of you, so when I went over the 101, you know, Salesforce Archive, the brief introduction, one of the things I mentioned was the fact that actually you're retaining your security and your sharing settings even if you're archiving your records. So that means that a case that was active yesterday and is archived today has the same access, or the user has the same access to that case, which is something to be rethought. Because if it's an inactive case, do our support agents really need access? Probably not. So that is where the anti-pattern came in, because you're really relying on just, you're keeping that same access where it's not warranted anymore. So that's the advice, is to make sure that you actually limit the access to the archived historical cases, and make sure that those are really only accessed by the people who really need access. Again, it is about that principle of least privilege. And that was our potential solution review. We would love to get your feedback on everything that you saw here today in the workshop. We're constantly refining, and we know there's some people in the room who were here for the first iterations on these workshops. So we really, really appreciate to get your feedback. We incorporate it all the time. If you thought challenges were not that great, or maybe you would have preferred the phrasing to be a bit different, we would love to hear it. Maybe the facilitation was not that great. They made too many stupid jokes and had very weird company names. Just let us know. We can try to dial it back, but
not gonna happen. But everything else we'll take into consideration. Yes. Yeah.
And then, of course, we're happy for you to learn more about everything that we do. So please check out the Salesforce Architecture Center, where you read all about the Well Architected Framework and learn to apply the Well Architected Framework. Catch up on our blogs, connect with us, not just here today and now, but just keep connecting with us when you get home as well. And with that, we want to thank you. Thank you so much for being here, and give us some feedback, have a coffee on us, let us know how it went. Thank you.